The incorporation of creativity into video games is probably one of the only reasons I play them today. The first games I remember playing were Roller Coaster Tycoon and Spore. When you're really bad at games, or maybe even don't understand them, being creative is your only choice. It's the same reason playing a game like Plague Inc. can either be a natural progression where each new mode you unlock changes and alters the way you play, or you just playing as bacteria on the same difficulty for hours and hours. This is how I've been able to play Minecraft since 2012 and only have beaten the Ender Dragon 3 months ago. It allows you to enjoy the game any way you want without repercussion. I played those games a long time ago and my tastes have changed. I've started to play games like CSGO, where the main satisfaction comes out of being better than your enemies, and also absolute bullcrap. I've started to enjoy difficulty in my favorite games, and can now see the other dimension it adds to video games. Adding difficulty to games exponentially adds replayability and satisfaction to any game, in a very easy to understand way. It makes some games go from a walk in the park to you're the one getting walked on in the park. But the park is also on fire. You probably know all of this, so you may be wondering why I'm telling you this. Here's why. As I've tried all these new difficulties, I've noticed a very hard to accept but simple truth. Creativity and freedom in video games do not mix well with difficulty. Now before you start assuming things, I'll get this out of the way. I do not enjoy games like Dark Souls. Replacing the last 10 feet of a slip and slide with sandpaper and flying down it at full speed is not something I enjoy doing in my free time. My problem isn't that games can be too difficult, it's about how it affects the way you play. Let's take my favorite game of the past couple of weeks as an example. Plague Inc. is a game I played on my phone a lot, like way too much. I remember hopping on the bus to get home from school and missing my stop way too many times because I was too focused on finally infecting Greenland. Why does it have one port when it has a population of 56,000 people? And they all got there via one boat from Sweden? Tangent aside, I never tried to do anything that impressive in the game. Recently, I realized how much I enjoyed the game despite the fact that I never even got halfway through it, so I started playing it again. I won with all of the diseases on casual very easily. It's all I did back then. Normal for some of them. Shadow Plague was enough for me. Then I got to Brutal, where they cure your disease in about 20 seconds, so I developed a strategy being a silent disease until it was far too late for the humans to do anything. Using this, I was able to beat a lot of them on Brutal, so I naturally went up to the next step of difficulty to Mega Brutal. Let's just say I had the idea for this video while trying to beat Mega Brutal with any disease. Does your disease have literally no severity? Doesn't matter, they'll find it anyway. Your disease has no symptoms? Well, they'll cure it in 50 days flat. I'm not one to look to tutorials on video games because they take almost all the enjoyment out of winning a game like Plague. What's more fun, building an absolutely horrible looking Lego creation without instructions, or building one from a set? That's how I feel. Once I finally turned to the dark side of playthroughs, I realized the main problem with all of this. Every walkthrough is an intricate step-by-step plan to beating the immensely difficult challenge of this very hard level, and they're all very similar. Too much difficulty encourages the most cookie-cutter strategies possible, which directly goes against the main principle in these games that make them so much fun: the freedom. You can have the most reckless strategy possible in casual and still win. Unless you do this, and this in Mega Brutal, you'll probably lose. I started to realize this isn't just a problem with Plague, it's a huge problem with almost all games with an emphasis on freedom. Bloons Tower Defense 5 was an amazing game I played for many years, and I was stoked for Bloons Tower Defense 6 when it was released. I've played the game enough to know the strategy for Impossible, the previous highest difficulty in the game. Then I found c.h.i.m.p.s. This mode is basically why I stopped playing the game. When I first beat Impossible, it was by the skin of my teeth, but I got better. I don't think I've gotten past round 16 of c.h.i.m.p.s. I did the exact same thing again, and I looked up some tutorials. I looked at these less to follow them and more to see what I could get away with. The answer for c.h.i.m.p.s is I can't. It might just be me, but it seems like the entire purpose of games where you can do whatever you want is to do exactly that, whatever you want. Yeah, I want a game to be hard, but I don't want my world to be deleted because I screwed up for a couple of seconds. It's very hard to make higher difficulties in video games less restrictive because that's what difficulty is a lot of the time. It's naturally restrictive. The game wants you to think and plan more when you play at higher difficulties, but the unfortunate thing is at a certain point it will do the exact opposite, to where players stop thinking for themselves and start following a guide. I guess what I'm saying is creatively centered games being difficult isn't inherently a bad thing, but it is a bad thing when the difficulty stops you from being creative. When a game about doing what you want doesn't let you do what you want to do, what's the point of playing it? It plays itself. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. It took quite a while. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video and that you've also enjoyed my increase in content that I've been working on recently. If you want to see any more high quality content, you could subscribe as well. Yes, I know you can find higher quality content elsewhere on YouTube, but if you like my particular kind of high